If the client doesn't have the means to get the housing that he needs, tell him not to worry about it. Tell him the Welcome Fund covered it.
They're gonna repossess my car, and I'm not gonna be able to get to school. I'm gonna mess everything all up again.
I'm a hard worker. I wanna be a good mom.
The globe is most unkind when we determine that someone's life holds more value than another person's. It's the start of unkindness.
We need to protect the rights of the smallest minority, because in doing that, we're protecting our own rights. That's what the Constitution is reminding us. Stand up for each other.
The hate that exists in this country could be our destruction, or it could be our clarion call.
What country is she in?
She is right now in Ethiopia.
Horrific things happen to refugees. Most of the people that we are resettling have fled violent outbursts of civil war or ongoing conflict.
Some of those people are traumatized. And how do you help such people?
In America, why will people be still sleeping on the street?
You take too good care of me. You really do.
The first piece of capital that we all need as humans is trust.
I want to make a change, and I want our generation to be an aspect of that change.
Putting time and practice into family, love, being a good neighbor.
Stand if you have ever gone to a study session and you or someone brought food. Stand if you have ever lent or borrowed a textbook.
The single most important thing for us all is caring for your fellow man. If you have that in your arsenal, you can do just about everything.
Stand if you helped a fellow student out with encouragement, direction, accountability, or even love. We all are here today because we all helped each other.
We need to be kind, respectful, and responsible within society to live in a civil democracy.
I think it's the glue that holds us together. It's just really important because without kindness, we'd all be maniacs.
Wow. If your heart is full, if you're super inspired and motivated right now, you're not alone. Let me tell you, I saw the movie yesterday, The Antidote, and I was weeping from the first moment it started, in the best of ways, and so inspired. And that is what we are talking about today. Welcome to a special edition of Up to Speed Live. I'm Diana Alvear, and today is all about kindness. And you've been hearing about this for a while with our company-wide campaign, A Call for Kindness. And today is dedicated to that because we need so much more of it today, especially during the holidays, right? So much stress and turmoil happening right now. We can all be a little bit kinder. So we are so excited about today's show. Verizon, as you know, has partnered with Capital One, our Big Six agent partners, and the Amazon Prime documentary that you were just watching the trailer for, The Antidote, together in A Call for Kindness. And by the way, as part of this partnership, all of you V-teamers out there get to watch this for free, whether or not you have access to Amazon Prime. And today we are so fortunate to have Krista Bourne, the beloved Krista Bourne, along with a co-producer and one of the stars of this film, The Antidote, here with us to talk to us about the inspiration for that documentary and how this all fits in together with our call for kindness. So we are asking you, if you have any questions or if you're inspired or you just want to let them know something, you can absolutely still send us your questions to the good@verizon.com mailbox. And now I'm so excited to invite onto the show Krista Bourne, our Senior Vice President of Consumer Sales and Operations. So Krista, welcome to the show and congratulations on A Call for Kindness. It has really been just this clarion call for compassion right now, and it is going over so well. So thank you for being with us today. And tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about A Call for Kindness.
Well, thank you, Diana. And today is a very special day because we will have this extra conversation. But before we get there, I do want to tell you that I'm very, very pleased with the way the campaign is unfolding. Where I really feel best is in the way that our employees are receiving it. And this was a message for everyone, but it was very special for our frontline employees. And not just those that are working in our stores, those that are on our technician side of the house, those that are answering calls. At the end of the day, 'tis the time for kindness. And it's something that we can all give and do. And we just have to be reminded that we are all people, mothers, brothers, cousins. We say this all the time. Whether you're behind the mask or over the phone, we are people. And so our employees are responding really well. You can find all kinds of stories where our employees are sharing who they are behind the mask or from behind the phones.
So I want to ask you a little bit about the inspiration for A Call for Kindness. Why did you, as a leader here at Verizon, why did you feel it was so important to make this the centerpiece of a campaign?
Well, listen, I have a personal belief that, I love the products that we sell. I think that it is a privilege to be a part of an organization like Verizon, where we have such a premium, such a reliable product that people depend on us for. But I also know that we are always going to only be as good as the people behind the product. And I think that when you have a platform, you should take the opportunity to make sure you prioritize those same very people that make success possible for you every day. This is my work family. And like I care for my own personal family, I want to make sure that I'm always putting my best foot forward on behalf of our workforce, because we couldn't do anything that our brand is known for without the people behind our products.
What have you been hearing from our team members about this? I mean, are they feeling like they're being recognized and they're being heard and valued? What kind of feedback have you received?
You just said it, Diana, they feel heard. It's uncomfortable when you are in a confrontational situation on the sales floor. Emotions are running high. We're in a situation that's new for so many of us for so many reasons. And, there's a lot of uncertainty. So those emotions, they tend to come into the environment, and our employees are needing to de-escalate those. Our customers are taking a deep breath and maybe calming down a little bit, and people are getting through it. But it doesn't make it any easier. Now, I know we didn't sign up for easy, so my team and our team alike, we're all working through it. But at the same time, people want to feel like they've been heard, like they matter. And I have a firm belief in, making sure that people see themselves in the plan. And you can't see yourself if you don't think that you have a voice. And this is something that we do together every day. So it was important for them to be heard.
So if there's one thing about the V-Team community that stands out, it's the bias toward action, right? Like, we're always looking at what can we do? What can we add? How can we contribute to all of these great campaigns? So what can we do when it comes to A Call for Kindness?
Three things I'm going to tell you. So one, you can go to verizon.com/kindness, and there you can learn more about the campaign, but you can also grab a little kind card, and you can email that or text it or post it and share it with somebody and tell them something that might make them smile. It's a nice way to share kindness. You can also, the second thing, you can post your own picture of yourself and describe who you are behind the mask or who you are from over the phone, and make sure that you let people know that you're more than just who they might see on the surface. You're a person, you're smiling behind the mask, you're smiling over the phone, and that level of connection, I think, is very helpful in today's environment. And then the third and final thing is we all have to walk the walk and talk the talk. So you yourself can be kind, and make sure that you take time to do that every day, and make sure that other people are receiving the benefit of your kindness. Those are the three things that I think we can all do to get involved with the campaign.
One of the coolest things about this Call for Kindness is that we are not in this by ourselves. In fact, we have some really great partners. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so we have had wonderful buy-in from some key partners. You mentioned them at the beginning. We have Capital One, so that's a wonderful opportunity. It's outside of our industry, but still a customer-facing opportunity. And then we have our Big Six partners, which are our authorized agents, Cellular Sales of Knoxville, Russell Cellular, TCC, Go Wireless, and Victra, and those partners help to serve us in more than 5,000 points of distribution. So having them on board is really, really important. And we're working and talking to other retailers all the time. We've had great discussions with a lot of individuals who find this campaign to be exactly what we need right now. So remember, this is not just for the moment. We will continue this as we go forward, because you should always be kind, and there's always room in our day for kindness, no matter what time of year it is.
Yeah, and I have to tell you that I use Instagram, and I love seeing my fellow V-teamers pop up and show me who they are, whether they're moms and dads, grandmas, kitchen table teachers, everything that they do personally, it really, you begin to know somebody behind the mask, as you're saying. So it's a really great thing to do. And if you're out there right now and you haven't done your kind card, do it. Do a hashtag, a call for kindness, so that we can keep track of who you are and get to know you better. And by the way, Krista, we do have one of our partners in this as well, along with us for the show. Today, we are so excited to introduce Kahane Cooperman. She's a co-producer of The Antidote, as well as one of the stars, in my opinion, of the movie, DeAmon Harges from Biker Boyz and Girls. They were featured in the film. So welcome to both of you to Up to Speed Live. And I'm going to have Krista do the honors of chatting with you today, because I was blown away, and I'd probably start crying if I started talking about the movie. So I'm going to have Krista do the honors.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And welcome both Kahane and DeAmon. Listen, it is an incredible documentary. We've talked about it. This is a great partnership between the two of us. We were trying to move a campaign forward on behalf of our frontline workers, and you were trying to shed a light on kindness on a worldview. And I think that the two coming together is an amazing opportunity. So first, why don't we start, Kahane? Tell us what inspired the documentary? Like, why does it even exist for us to take advantage of today?
First of all, thanks for having myself and for having DeAmon, and we're just very honored to be here speaking to the Verizon community. So about 2.5 years ago, it was 2018, and I met with, for coffee, I met for the first time another filmmaker named John Hoffman, who had raised a little bit of money, and he had to make a film, and he just had one word: kindness. And again, it was 2018, and on a personal note, I really felt like civility was crumbling around me in this country, and I didn't understand why. It made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't recognize it as having, been what I was used to living with, and I was concerned, so I thought it might be really interesting to explore what kindness is and what it means, and not in like a soft way. I think you have to sort of fight against the idea that kindness is soft. I really wanted to look at it as a potential tool, as like a fierce weapon for potential change in terms of how we treat each other. And so I thought this was a really great opportunity to explore it with John. And so, together we put together a small team, and we thought really long and hard. We read everything we could. We talked to experts in every field, from, neurologists to psychiatrists to academics, and we were learning about empathy and compassion and all that stuff, and evolutionary biologists. We went all over the place with it, and it was kind of overwhelming to see, like, okay, we kind of are getting a sense of what's natural, what's part of being human, but what does it mean in 2018? And so we sort of put all that stuff aside and decided, well, when we make this film, whatever it's going to be, what questions do we want to have addressed in it? What do we want answered? And so we came up with these 6 essential questions that we felt like if our film can touch on these questions, then we might have a shot at addressing this idea on a bigger level. And those questions were, how do we raise our children? How do we teach our children? How do we live and work together? How do we treat the sick and the dying? How do we welcome the stranger? And how do we lead? And we felt like if we could find stories that, not one for one, but that touch on those things, then we're kind of touching on a common experience that all of us have, sort of from birth to death. Like, we wanted to go through the life cycle, and many of these things are things that touch everyone's life, and we wanted people to see themselves in this film. So that's how we started looking for our stories. And just, I know I'm going on, but just what we also realized, especially when Charlottesville happened, that it was a stark reminder that for a lot of Americans, unfortunately, there are very fundamental unkindnesses that they live with every day. And we felt like our stories, it wasn't enough to have stories that answered those questions. We also wanted to acknowledge and address those fundamental unkindnesses that are often the impetus for people to lift others up and make that choice to make a difference in their communities. So we identified those unkindnesses, which fundamentally unkind not to have a safe place to sleep, fundamentally unkind not to earn a living wage. It's fundamentally unkind to not have access to health care. The injustices of racism, fundamentally unkind. Homophobia, fundamentally unkind. Sexism, fundamentally unkind. And so we took those unkindnesses and we combined them with our essential questions, and that became the lens through which we started looking for our stories. And the Antidote weaves 9 stories together, and DeAmon is at the heart of one of the stories that we tell.
Yes, yes. Kahane, that is amazing framework. And thank you for the context, the 6 questions, the fundamentals of kindness. And I mean, when you speak to those, who can argue with them? Who could argue with them? So DeAmon, tell us a little bit about your involvement. How did you get involved in the film? And really, first we should say thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing in the community. Thank you for being a part of the story. Thank you for having a story to tell. So tell us a little bit more about it. How did you get involved?
Well, as I was running through an airport and had a Zoom call with Kahane and John. And I mean, it was just, I feel like the thing that's very important is the thing that Kahane said is weaving the fabric that kind people, that you can leverage people who are kind. And so I have to say thank Kahane and John for using their power and their gifts to do that and as you said, Krista, the platform. So it was kind of like, yeah, I want to do a film, that's fine. And I finally got on the airplane and was sitting down, and they were still on the call. So
yeah, I just want to interrupt for 1 second. So DeAmon took our call, and he was in the airport, and we stayed on the phone with him, by FaceTime the whole way through TSA, like all the security, onto the plane. That's how we first met.
That's called commitment. Commitment.
It was, well, that's what I was like, okay, well, maybe we can talk. What I was a little leery just because my neighbors are people who have built infrastructure, and what Kahane was talking about, there are policies that hadn't supported their work and contributions. And so when we talked about it, I was very clear is that, you're a part of this community when you come in, and we have like principles like Kahane was doing. So that was like, man, so we really agreed a lot philosophically. And I was like, yes, come, you're welcome.
That's excellent. That's excellent. DeAmon, tell everybody just real quick, what is the organization? Tell us a little bit more about your work.
So I run a little ragtag organization called The Learning Tree. I mean, I say ragtag, but it has a lot of power. It's a group of neighbors that are all business partners together to think about social change. And we do it by honoring the contributions and gifts of every single person in our community. So we have a little consulting company. 40% of our income go back philanthropically into our neighborhood. So
it's a full service opportunity. You're leveraging the people in the community. You're bringing it back to the community from an economic standpoint. People get better together. That is a kind way of living. So let me ask Kahane, let me come back. I'm going to ask both of you this question so you can think about it, DeAmon, is, what is the importance of storytelling? We talk a lot at Verizon, especially these days, around storytelling and being able to really articulate, the details and the impactful moments of a story. So tell us a little bit about what you think is important when it comes to storytelling.
Well, right. For me, storytelling and nonfiction storytelling and with documentary storytelling, the stories of real people, except for my love for my family, nothing else moves me more. I just think there's nothing more that can get at the truth of the human experience than people sharing their stories with you. That involves a lot of things, though. It involves trust that needs to be built over time. But in the film, DeAmon's, the story that DeAmon is part of is about this incredible neighborhood bike shop where he's brought in the neighborhood kids as business owners of this bicycle repair and sales shop out of a garage in your neighborhood in Indianapolis, DeAmon, and it's really incredible. And in your story, you actually speak directly about the power of storytelling. I don't want to take your great line away from the film. You can share it, but I feel like it's incredibly meaningful. And you can say it, or I can.
You say it.
So what DeAmon says in the film, and what I also believe in my heart, is that storytelling is a philanthropic act. And DeAmon, you can explain more what you mean by that, but I found that incredibly powerful.
Yeah, very powerful.
As an
very
idea.
Powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. DeAmon, tell us more.
Well, that shapes us all. Stories are currency. It's an intangible currency that is reason why we all here having this conversation, because someone shared a story. And so stories are also responsible and have quantitative consequences behind it. And I say that we hire a storyteller to live across the street from me, and he is probably the most impactful person in Indianapolis in shaping policy around housing, because how he tells stories. So when we talk about our neighborhood, the zip code, when you say it's zip code, it's known for one thing, right? Being on the nightly news for not really kind things. But no one addresses the policies around those things that keep people unkind. And so my neighbor, Wildstyle, he tells a story about humans and their gifts. Then he juxtaposed those along with the policies that are against the kindness that happens, and particularly around housing. And so this year, and probably $25 million got shifted into places that normally wouldn't get shifted to. A policy is now named that residents need to have voice because they have expertise around housing and the lack thereof. So that the storytelling is powerful. But if we don't set in this country policies around how we treat people and utilize stories on a broad sense, right, on our nightly news, if we don't invest into people like John and Kahane and the work they're doing because they have an intent, because you got to go look for those. The other thing is that I think Kahane and John have these principles, those 6 questions that probably is the cornerstone of civic life, right? And we need to lift up those stories and say, these are people who know how to be good neighbors.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So final question, Kahane. When you think of the work you're doing or the film and our conversation, how do you see our campaign complementing your effort and your desire to have a more kind society and world?
Well, first of all, I think that in the end, it comes down to connection and human connection. And human connection can be one-on-one, but it can also be organization to organization. So I feel like, it's a natural partnership for a huge corporation like Verizon. That's, I really respect that you have made a decision to put a focus on kindness and to acknowledge your all the people who work for this company as, humans behind the mask, or hopefully when the masks are gone, without the masks, as humans who are multidimensional. And that's how I think all of us need to look at each other. And so I think our film isn't so different. And you look at, some of the stories very specifically focus on that and how we perceive people. And so I just think that your campaign, A Call for Kindness, in our film, The Antidote, they share some DNA. They really do, in spirit. And so, yeah.
There you go. We're spiritually connected. I do agree. And this was a wonderful conversation. And again, thank you both for being involved, for caring enough to be involved. Thank you for giving us some time and partnering with us today. And for, everyone that's watching, again, I just want to remind you, Verizon.com/kindness, and you can learn more about the campaign. You can get involved with the Kind cards. You can share and post on social channels that you're a part of who you are as a person behind the mask or over the phone or in your community making a difference. We can do kind things for everyone because it's the gift that we can give to everyone. So thank you so much for your time, Diana. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, I was listening and just inspired all over again. Two incredible people that we've been chatting here with, Krista, as well as yourself. We do have a couple of questions from our viewers, and let's just keep the answers brief because I think we've gotten to some of this. But what I really liked about this one, it says, love the documentary. We live in a moment where our society appears to be divided more than ever. And I know that this is from 2018. Here we are in 2020, and it really does feel like it's more divided now. So, Kahane, briefly, how do we turn this around? That's what one of the viewers wants to know.
That is a fantastic question. And I think that that it starts in your own neighborhood. It starts in your own homes. And I think that's on an everyday basis. But I also think to speak to what DeAmon was talking about with finding ways to address like overarching policy and how I think a strong government buy-in to the way our government treats each people should be a model for, I think, how we all treat each other. So I actually think, like, in addition to how we all navigate the world every day, that look at how your town is, or your city, or your wherever you may live, small town or large city. Look at the examples in front of you of what you're doing. And another thing, this is a little bit of a plug, but on our website, which is theantidotemovie.com, there's in addition to learning about all the organizations and additional stories that aren't in the film but are equally powerful, there's a Get Involved button, which connects you to another one of our partners called Volunteer Match. And if you go to Volunteer Match, they have a whole, Antidote film sort of portal, and all you need to do is put in your zip code, and they will provide you with organizations wherever you might live, so you can get a sense of places that you might be able to help, or people who are active in your own communities, and you could be a part of it. But I think it all starts with us as individuals, and a little bit of the golden rule, which is something that's talked about in the film too, which is treat people the way you want to be treated.
I love that.
Pretty simple as a way to start. But yeah, there's micro and macro answers to that question.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then real quick, I want to get to DeAmon because there was something that struck me in the movie, and I really wanted to ask you about it. And we see it throughout the documentary, is the power of listening. In the power of listening, when that student at Amarillo College was talking about if her car got repossessed, then she wasn't going to be able to, go to school. And I noticed, DeAmon, that you really listened to the young girls that were around you when you were walking to the bike shop, and you're asking them questions about their lives. So DeAmon, tell me about the power of listening.
Well, one is just the act of being present, right? And that's a very important act, to be attentive. The other was the important part was the question that I asked. And the question that we always hold is, what are the things your parents you notice contribute, and how you name those? And so kindness only becomes true is when we name it. And that was kind of and shaping our questions around that. So yeah, being present is very important.
Present. What a wonderful way to end this show. DeAmon, Kahane, and of course, Krista, thank you so much. All three of you are contributing to the kindness deficit that we have in this country. And I think that the message comes out loud and clear that it takes all of us to do our part in making, you know, this country a little kinder, especially at the holiday season. So a reminder that you can all watch The Antidote on Amazon Prime or on VZ Web. That's where I watched it. You can also, of course, as Kahane said, go to www.theantidotemovie.com. And you can learn more about our very own Call for Kindness. You can join us if you happen to be a business and you said, wow, this sounds really awesome. I want to be a part. Yes, we want you to partner with us. All you have to do is go to Verizon.com/kindness. So my thanks to all three of you. My thanks to everybody who's watching right now. And I feel like my heart is fuller right now. You know that feeling you're feeling right now? Hold on to it and channel it into action right now. Get involved, do something kind, pick up the phone and call somebody you love that you haven't talked to in a while. Just check in on people, because the more we do that, we are going to create a kinder world, okay? So thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Diana Alvear. This has just been an amazing episode. Please stay safe and have a happy weekend. And until next time, you're up to speed.